Hello everyone, my name is Orphid, and how are you all? Today's video is going to be about one of my favorite game series of all time, The Last of Us, and more specifically about the possibility of a third game and why I think that prospect is exciting. So in this video we're just going to talk about it. We're going to go over some things that was said in a documentary made about the game. The documentary that I'm referring to was called Grounded, and it was a 2-hour video where Naughty Dog essentially went over everything that went on in the studio with the making of the second game. They also had one for the first game as well, and it's a very interesting watch. I think if you're a fan or not, because it gives you some insight into the development process of these games, what kind of decisions have to be made usually that results in you getting the game you play versus something completely different. It's very interesting. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description, so if you are interested, do check it out. But this video is going to use that documentary as the talking point for a third game. So we're going to get right into it. I want to quickly touch on Naughty Dog's reputation and, the guy at the head of the studio, Neil Druckmann. A lot of people do not like him. The internet does not like Neil Druckmann. I see the jokes and the memes on Twitter. Naughty Dog as a whole, I think, just has kind of had their name dragged through the mud because of the way Last of Us 2 ended up turning out and the leaks around it. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later, but it put them in a really bad spot in my opinion, and they are not seen as favorably as I think they once were. So getting right into it, at the end of the documentary, there is a clip of Neil talking about how there really would be no third game at the time he was asked about it, because he just didn't have, he didn't believe there was a theme there. He said he always talked about how he had a rough draft of a script, but that was it. There was no passion behind it. There was probably at that time no real chance of it becoming a thing. And there was a time skip of about a year, and it shows him talking about how since that time he had kind of changed his viewpoint on it. He started to develop a theme, he started to really work on the script, and he finished it by saying he did believe there was one more part of the story to tell. And that's the basis of this video here. It's talking about the possibility of a third game and what that could entail. And most of it from this point will be conjecture. It will be my own thoughts and opinions. But I just want to say that hearing, the director of the studio talk about the possibility of a third game and how, he has the passion to do it is exciting for me. I'm not speaking for everyone, but for me, I'm on board. So, right away, one thing that is very important is understanding The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, and how each one conveyed a strong theme. The first game's theme was obviously love and loss, the lengths a person will go to protect someone they care about, right? This was a story about a relationship that was formed, and it was very heartwarming, right? You could understand the characters genuinely cared for each other, and it was a journey where that care was only deepening, and by the end of it, you had this beautiful new father-daughter relationship. The second game's theme was clearly about hatred and the cycle of revenge, and how essentially that can tear a person apart, right? Violence begets violence, an eye for an eye, that kind of thing. There was obviously a lot more going on, but the overarching theme was hatred, right? And this third game, I believe, in my opinion, one of the coolest things they could do in regards to the series and what is already established is a theme about rebuilding, right? Because you can only rebuild once you've lost. And it makes so much sense when you account for the events of the first and second game, right? In the world of The Last of Us, it is very brutal. And what that means is you can kind of lose sight of a part of yourself depending on how important that relationship was. And you can see that in part 2, with Ellie being extremely violent, extremely hateful. And if you compare her to the girl you knew in the first game, I would absolutely classify that as a loss of self, all in pursuit of revenge for someone she deeply cared about. And like I said, you can only rebuild once you've lost. right? Something has to be taken away for you to rebuild. The reason this theme is so important to me is because in the first game, Ellie wants to be the cure for mankind. She wants to have had her life mean something. And you can tell in the second game that she was very upset with Joel for denying her that opportunity, what she believed would have been a meaningful sacrifice. And that's a tough thing to grapple with, to have an idea of an action or, an existence of yourself to have a certain purpose and someone deny you that or take it away. That's huge. That's very big, and, that can weigh on a person. And losing the only person, in this world that she really got a chance to grow close to like that, that's a very tough situation. But as we know, as people who have lost in real life, friends, family members, eventually there comes a point where you have to come to terms with that loss. You grieve in your own way, and then you move forward. You carry yourself forward with their memory. And I think in this game, the theme of rebuilding, having one opportunity taken from you, but creating another of your own volition, I believe that's as powerful as it could get, for the main character to have went through the arc she did and to look to make it right in the end, to kind of say, okay, let's start creating a better future for me and the people that'll come after me. And that's, to me, the second best thing you could do outside of sacrificing yourself for what you believe would have been a cure that benefited everyone. So this third game, in my opinion, could take the route of exactly that. Ellie finding herself in some new territory, working on establishing a community or communities. There's a lot of different things that they could do with the theme of rebuilding. There could be older characters, that come back and help her in that journey. There's a lot of things that could go on. But I think that theme is so interesting to me when you account for the first two games. And I think that would be a perfect bow on top of this trilogy of games, considering it's already such a special series to so many people. One of the last things that I would mention is the popularity of the TV show. So I feel like that plays a big hand in extending the series and kind of going in for one more game, because the first series TV show was very successful and they're already shooting the second season now. So it is going to become a mainstay in the TV space, as it already is in the gaming space. So yeah, I think a third game is absolutely inevitable. I would just hope that they would take their time with it, no need to rush it out, really establish what the game is going to be about, and just do the work that we know Naughty Dog is capable of. Do the series justice, remind people that these are characters they love, you love these characters for a reason, and use this as a final opportunity to kind of turn around the image of The Last of Us, considering, all the vitriol that was surrounding the release of the second game. So I think there's a lot there. I think there's a lot there that can still be done. And the world of The Last of Us is incredible to me. Obviously it sucks. Any post-apocalyptic setting would suck to live in, but as an observer, as someone who is interacting with the world, I enjoy it a great deal. I'm sure the inhabitants don't as much. But that is pretty much what I wanted to cover in regards to a third game, and just how a powerful theme could carry it forward and really give us something that ties all three games together. But that is going to be it for me. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you as well for listening with me. Until next time, you take care.